Hi, I'm Niall of NZCS Tactical Gaming, and this is the narrated version of When Do We Go From Here? Our group, our party, being transported through some manner of magic to this new location, no longer in the beautiful wooden temple in Tokyo that they had entered, but now in a stone structure that was more reminiscent of a European type building. Immediately, they see two people rushing at them with weapons drawn. To defend themselves, a couple of them pull guns and fire upon these individuals. These individuals fall, and our heroes run out the front door of the temple. When they look back at it and see that they are no longer in any way where they were before, they're not in Tokyo. This is not Japan. They investigate the building. They go around the back of the building and see that there is a causeway or wall that goes all the way up the hill to another building up above. And then, from what they can see, it is nighttime. Down the hill, there's a path. Varys decides to climb the wall and see what he can see up above. And when he does, he sees one lone guard walking down the causeway. He turns on the camouflage on his jacket, which assists him in hiding in shadows. The individual walks right by him. This creature goes into the upper back door of the temple, and Varys follows him. In some manner, a fight begins, and this creature is able to sound an alarm which brings a cascade of other creatures down the causeway. The group has a skirmish with these beasts, but thinks better of it and decides to leave. And at this point, Varys feels a draw. He feels like he's compelled, he's being pulled in a direction, and when he looks in that direction, he sees, again, Ezerhaddon. But this time, Ezerhaddon is looking at him. Varys focuses on moving away and runs with his companions down the hill. As they follow the path in the night down this hill, it starts getting colder. They see ahead of them the lights from a small village, maybe 5 or 6 buildings. As they approach, they notice that these buildings are larger than normal. They're more Oni-sized than human-sized. And when they approach one that looks like a blacksmith's forge connected to a house, they knock upon the door. And when the door opens, this creature that could not even be described is something similar to an ogre or a troll or hill giant or something in between, but not quite any of them. It looks upon our adventurers and just lets out an unintelligible string of sounds that don't seem friendly at all. And then the door slams in their face. Our party, not wanting to move anymore at night while it's getting cold, go over to the forge where the coals of the fire are still warm. Now, it must be restated what type of hygiene Oni has, and that type would be none. He's dirty. He smells. He's got a questionable diet. But as Varus slips off to sleep, the rest of the group conspires. They want to know what's on his chest. They want to see what is there, since Varus, up till this point, has not been interested in even himself to take a look. Oni straddles Varus's face, holding his arms down. The rest of the group open his shirt and jacket and take a look at the symbols that look just like what the floors of the temples looked like, what the floor at the research facility looked like. These symbols on his chest. And alongside it, the paisa from the Japanese temple that the monk gave. When Varus is able to get himself out from under Oni, Varus informs Oni that if he ever does something like that again, he'll kill him. The group then did get their rest, and the next morning, the sun started to come up. The light was brilliant in this little valley on the hillside. When the stirrings came from inside the houses, they decided it was about time to leave because they didn't get a warm welcome to begin with. So they all got up and started heading down the hill again. And this is when they saw down at the bottom of the hill was a grand lake with a small island. As they got closer, they could see that on this island there was another temple, just like the one up the hill. And between, on the shore, this side of the water, was a small dock, a boat, and what looked like a figure in white standing on the dock. Our party continued down the hill, and as they got closer, they could see this woman standing there in pure white, patiently waiting. And when they approached and they were close enough, this woman in her white robes pulled the hood back on her robe and greeted them. She says, "I'm Kame. I'm a representative of the Emperor. I'm here to help you, to guide you. I know who all of you are." With natural curiosity from our group, they asked questions. Kami wouldn't give them all of the information. What they could glean, though, is Kurabara Nagoyaka, or Nagoya, was the emperor in this place. They all got into the boat and went across to the island that wasn't very far away. And once they were there, they opened the doors of the temple. And they could see that inside the temple, there were the same markings upon the floor. They stepped in. The markings on the floor lit up. And like that, as soon as Varus crossed the threshold, they appeared in a new temple. This one was newer. The walls seemed more modern. The lighting seemed to be electric. There was a balcony around the outside where the walls were open to the air. And as they looked out, they could see that they were on a very tall building. Upon the altar was a statue. The previous temple had a statue on the altar also. This statue was on the previous temple that they had teleported into. In the temple that they had just transported from, there had been what appeared to be a statue on the altar of Nagoyaka's wife, In this temple, there was a grand golden dragon. And when Kame saw this dragon, this statue of golden dragon, she dropped down praying. Our group realized they hadn't eaten in a day, but none of them had provisions. Kame prayed to this golden dragon, calling him esteemed father. Esteemed father, please provide for us. We are travelers, and we have no sustenance. Please, great father. And upon the altar appeared food, and they ate. When they were done eating, they searched the temple. There wasn't really much to find. There was only one door that wasn't open to the air. And when they went out this door, it led to a stairwell going down, farther than they could see at the time. They went down one flight, where they found a door. They passed by this door and continued going down. But for the next 35 floors, 35 flights of stairs, there were no doors. When they reached the bottom, it wasn't outside, it was a tunnel. So they followed the tunnel until they came to another door. This door was locked, a very large steel door. One of the party members attempted to break the door down, to no avail. Kame chose to attempt to hit the door, and she reeled her arm back. Keep in mind, Kame is a rather small woman. Lovely, but small. She reeled her arm back and she punched into that door. But she did no damage on the door, and the door did hurt her hand. Hurt it quite much. And as she was exclaiming the pain to her hand, the party could see several sparks pop out of her mouth. And involuntarily, a blast of flame melted the door coming from her face. She shrugged it off. But behind this door was a small room with a ladder going up. Our group climbed up to the top, removed the manhole cover, and found themselves in an alleyway. After a short bit of investigation, they found a newspaper, and the newspaper had the date on it. It was early spring, 1901. They were in Chicago. And I'll be back again to give you another portion of this story. Thanks for joining me.